Alrighty, boys and girls. Welcome back to the art lab. I know it's been a long time, but today I've got something fun planned for us. We can do it at home. So all we're gonna need today is a pencil with an eraser, some paper, and a ruler. Now, if you also have some colored pencils or some crayons and a black marker, we'll have a chance to use those too, but you don't have to have them. You only need to have a pencil, an eraser, and a ruler for today. What are we going to be learning today? What we're going to be learning is something called one-point perspective. And the reason they call it one-point perspective is because we're going to use 1 point on the middle of our piece of paper to make all of these designs and scenery. We're going to end up with a really beautiful picture like this. If you don't have colored pencils or crayons, it's still going to look really cool. It just won't be in color. So with that, let's get started. So Mr. D's got a blank piece of paper right here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in half like a hot dog, just like this. So pause the video, get your paper folded up, and unpause it when you're ready. Now, I'm going to unfold my paper. And right in the middle, I'm gonna make a nice big black dot. This is my 1 point. Now, if we look at the finished one, you can already see our road leads to this 1 point. So why don't we do that first? We can see right here across the paper, we have this long line all the way across. I'm gonna draw a line across it real quick. That's our horizon line. That's where the land meets the sky. You don't have to write it. I'm just writing it down so it's easier for you to see. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my road. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 2 points down here that are kind of far apart. One right here and one right here. And basically, I'm going to put my ruler from this point to this point. And I'm going to draw a line across just like that. On the other side, I'm going to do just the same thing. I'm gonna put my ruler back down from 1 point to another point. And now I always like to use my index finger and my thumb to hold the ruler down while I draw with my other hand. There we go. It already looks like a road, doesn't it? So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put some lines down the middle of our road, because we all know cars go on both sides of the road. It's not just one big lane. So I'm gonna put my ruler down and I'm going to draw some dashed lines. Bada bing, bada boom, there's our road. Let's look at some of the other stuff we have. On one side of our road, we have a little lake, and this is just kind of a blob shape. So what we can do is we can just kind of draw any old blob. It can be whatever shape you want. This is your lake. And I've got some little waves in the lake and a little fish. So I'm going to draw just a couple lines like this for some waves. Maybe I'll put one fish in there too. This is how I draw fish. Boop, and he's done. Now if we look down our road into the distance, we see all these big, tall mountains. So one at a time, Mr. D is going to draw some triangles starting on our horizon line. There's a good sized mountain. You can make these as big or as small as you want them. Mr. D is going to do, let's do 4 mountains. Again, you can do as many or as few as you want. They can be as tall or as short as you want. It's up to you. These are your mountains. And on each of our mountains, I'm going to do kind of this same line I did in our lake. And this is going to be like our snow cap, because up at the top of mountains, it's very cold and there's lots of snow. So that is the snow at the top of our mountains. Next, let's add some clouds. You can see Mr. D's clouds here. I think most of you guys already know how to draw pretty good clouds, so just draw whatever kind of clouds you want. I'm only gonna do 2 just because it's a little bit easier that way. And 2. Some other things I have in my sky are I have a sun, and I have a couple birds. Birds are really easy. You can draw them just like this. A couple birds flying in our sky. Now here's something kind of tricky. Mr. D's got a sun behind the cloud. So in order to do that, we're gonna have to start drawing a circle on the edge of our cloud and do kind of one of these right here. It's like you're gonna draw a full circle, but you stop right where the cloud starts. So now we have our sun, and I'll put some sun rays coming off of him. Remember, if Mr. D's going too fast, you can pause the video and watch what I'm doing. Slowly, take your time. No good art ever came by rushing. All right, so I've got my sun, my clouds, my birds, my mountains, my lake. What else does Mr. D have on here? Got a big old tree. So here's where our eraser is going to come in handy. I'm going to draw the top part of my tree right around here over our horizon. And I draw them at the top of my tree kind of like the same way I draw my clouds. It's a bunch of swoopy lines just like this. Swoopy whoopy whoop. And because I drew all over our clouds, I drew all over our mountains, I'm gonna have to erase all that stuff out of there now. Because our tree is gonna be in front of the mountain, and so we can't really see the mountain through the tree. And I made a little mistake right there, so I'm gonna erase that too. I make mistakes all the time. Okie dokes. Now we're gonna draw the trunk of our tree, and it's gonna come down, and then at the bottom it's gonna go out, just like that. And then right back in. That's like the root of our tree where it goes into the ground. So I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Just the best you can, doesn't have to be perfect. I like to put little holes in my tree so our birds that are flying around in the sky can fly down and take a little roost in this hole. I'm gonna draw some grass here now. And that's it. That is our 1-point perspective scene. Now, if you're feeling really creative, you can draw a car. You can put a car in the scene. You could put some people. You could put some flowers. You could think of some other stuff to put in the sky. You could put a flying saucer or an airplane. Anything you could think of. This is your artwork and your imagination, so you get to do whatever you want. Now, if you have crayons or colored pencils, or if you have a black marker, keep watching because we're going to go from this to this. I'm going to start with my black marker. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trace over this horizon line, but I'm going to be really careful. I don't want to go inside the tree. So I'm going to go all the way across, stop right there at the tree, and then on the other side of the tree, I'm going to finish it. While I'm over here, I may as well finish outlining this tree too. So I'll take my black marker and I'll trace over all these lines. It can be any kind of black marker. It does not have to be a permanent marker. You can use a Crayola marker. You can even use a black crayon or a black colored pencil. I'm going to trace the rest of my tree there. Like I said, I've got a little bit of grass right here, so I just do some zigzag lines. Finish tracing up my tree and my little hole for my birds. Now I'm going to do my road, and I'm going to use my ruler again just because I want these lines to be super straight. If they're too wobbly, it's not going to look like a road. So there's one, and there's two. Now, boys and girls, if you remember during class at the beginning of the year, we talked about how things look bigger when they're closer and smaller when they're further away. So for instance, this part of the road is a lot closer to us, the viewers. So down here, the road looks a lot bigger. But as we get further and further away towards these mountains, that road gets smaller and smaller and smaller. That's why the road looks like a triangle. Another good example of this is how this mountain right here looks smaller than this tree. This tree is a lot closer to us than the mountain, but the mountain is a lot bigger than the tree. And that's why the mountain looks so small and the tree looks so big, because it's so much closer. These mountains are huge, but they're far away, so they're nice and small. Next, I'm going to outline my blob lake. I'm just going to call it Blob Lake. You ever go fishing on Blob Lake? There's my little waves. There's my little fish. I hear they're biting this time of year. So, next I'm going to outline my mountains, and these are just triangles. These can be a little bit crooked too, because mountains in real life are a little bit crooked. And I'm going to draw my little snow caps on my mountains, or rather I will trace my little snow caps on my mountains, because I've already drawn them with my pencil. And then the very next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trace my clouds. And it's okay if you don't trace your clouds perfectly, or if you don't trace your tree perfectly. See how Mr. D has all these little extra lines from the pencil? Now that we have our marker, we can just erase those pencil lines. They will go away. Got some inside my mountain because I didn't do a perfect job here. I'll erase all those extra lines. You don't have to, but it'll make your art look a lot nicer at the end. Now I'll do my other cloud. And our birds. And our sunshine. There's our circle. Now I'll do our little rays of sunshine coming off of it. All right, and that's it. Like I said, you could add some more stuff in the sky if you want. You could do an airplane or a flying saucer. You could add some flowers. But that's all Mr. D's gonna do. And the next thing I'm gonna do is start coloring it in a little bit. So I've got a green colored pencil. Here's my green colored pencil. And I'm just gonna start coloring in all this grass and the top part of our tree, because that's all the green stuff. So here I go. It's not gonna be perfect. I'm just gonna color quick enough so that you get the idea of where all the colors go. You can take your time with this and make it as nice as you want. There's that side of the road all colored in green. Now I'm going to do this side. Again, if Mr. D is going too fast, you can always pause the video and catch up to me. So I'm going to color it in all the way. Here we go. Oops. Accidents happen. All right, there's all of our grass colored in nice and clean. Now I'm gonna do the treetop too. And what I like to do is I kind of go in a circle. First thing I do is I get all these big parts and I color them kind of like a circle, just like that. And I'll put one in the middle too. And then I just kind of shade over them lightly. The circles just kind of make it look like these are each in their own branch, and they have their own little section of the tree. All right, let's get the blue in there. There's a lot of blue too. So I've got my handy dandy blue, and first thing I'll do is I'll color in my lake. Lake's all colored in. Now I'm gonna do my sky. Oops. See, Mr. D's making mistakes. He's going a little too fast. I just don't want to bore you guys while I'm doing so much coloring. But you guys can do your own coloring right now too. I'm coloring just about as fast as I can. This might take you guys a little bit longer, and that's okay. Almost there. Almost there. Color this part up here too. You gotta get the top part. Your pictures always look better when you color them in all the way if you can. Almost one more little section. There we go, all done with our sky. Beautiful. Now for the mountains, Mr. D tends to think that purple is a good color for mountains. Maybe it's because purple is a nice cool color, it makes you think of the snow, but it works pretty darn well here, I think. So we're gonna use purple for our mountains. You could use gray too if you want, but our road's going to be gray, so if you do a gray mountains and a gray road, they're going to look very similar. Brown mountains are a good idea too. Now let's see, what are some things we've forgotten? Oh, we got to do the trunk of our tree, and the trunk of our tree is brown, so I'm going to use a brown. And I'll color it in just like that. Easy peasy. And oh yeah, let's talk about our road again. Now, most roads are kind of like a gray color, but I don't have a gray colored pencil. So what I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna use my black colored pencil, and I'm just gonna push down really lightly when I color, and it's gonna make it gray instead of black. Because gray is really just light black. So if we go light with our black, we'll get this nice gray color. Going back and forth just like this will help a little bit. And get the edges of the road. And voila, there is our road. I think we only have one more thing to color, and that's our sun. So I'm just gonna grab my yellow and I'll color in this little sun right here. Beautiful, what a beautiful picture, and I'll tell you what, let's make him a happy sun too. Give him a smiley face. All right, boys and girls, that is how you draw a whole landscape with 1-point perspective. Remember, it all started out with 1 point, and we did all of this with just that one little point. Here's the one that Mr. D already made, and here's our finished product. I hope you guys had fun watching. I hope we get to see each other in the school again soon, but if not, Mr. D is going to keep posting fun things just like this, so you guys keep tuning in and watching. Y'all stay safe and healthy at home, and I hope I'll see you real soon. Have a good day, boys and girls.